Are you ready for a new adventure? Time to travel back in time, let's go! Are you ready for a new adventure? Let's learn about the past with Anna and Leo.
Hi friends! Welcome to Unlock This, a podcast from Honest History, where we join our friends Anna, Leo, and Percy on adventures through time and uncover some really cool stories along the way. My name is William. I'm 6 years old, and I love learning about history, especially new stories that I don't hear about in school. I can't wait for today's story, and I think you're gonna love it too. So let's dive in.
Hi, Leo. What do you have there?
This? It's a history magazine.
Can I take a look?
You can borrow it if you want. I think you'll like it. It's all about ancient Rome.
Yes, please. There are a lot of things from ancient Rome in the museum that I want to learn more about. Did you ever notice all those old statues in that room over there?
Yeah, I did. Are those Roman statues?
I think so. But why don't we walk over there to investigate?
Wow, there's a lot of statues of people in here. I wonder who they are.
Take a look at this one. The nose is chipped pretty badly, but there's a label. It says this is likely the statue of a man named Scipio Africanus.
Huh. That name sounds familiar. Does it say who Scipio Africanus was?
Let me see. Yes, it says he was a Roman general and a statesman. He was largely responsible for Rome's victory in the Second Punic War. Oh, hey, Percy! You found us at the perfect time. We were trying to learn more about these statues. Maybe you can help.
What did Percy say?
He says in order to understand Scipio Africanus and the Second Punic War, we need to learn more about a man named Hannibal.
Hannibal. Wait, I remember reading about him. He was from a place called Carthage.
Where's Carthage? Was it part of ancient Rome?
Carthage was a city in North Africa.
Percy said in ancient times, Carthage and Rome battled each other.
Oh, yes, I remember that now. And Hannibal was the leader of Carthage's army. In fact, I think Hannibal is considered Rome's greatest enemy.
Maybe we should learn more about him. Percy, is there anything about Hannibal in the vault?
Ooh, I wonder what Percy has in mind.
He wants us to open that cabinet over there.
It looks like there's some old coins inside.
Percy says we can hold the coins, but we should wear these gloves to help keep the dirt off. Here, Leo, put these on.
The gloves are on. I can touch the coins now? Wow. Which one should we look at?
Percy is pointing to the one on the top shelf, in the corner.
Oh, got it. Now, let's see what we have here.
The coin has a picture of a man on the front.
And on the back, there's an elephant?
I wonder what that means.
Anna, do you feel that? We're about to travel.
I'm not sure where we are, but it's freezing again.
Oh, lucky for us, I came prepared. After our last adventure, I didn't want to be stuck in the cold again.
You brought jackets?
And some more hats.
Oh, thank you, Leo.
You're very welcome. Now, let's see if we can figure out where we are.
Well, all I see are mountains.
And a lot of snow.
Maybe we should start walking until we find something? Like a building or maybe some people?
Good idea. Hopefully we don't have to walk too far. Whoa!
Leo, are you okay?
I'm good, but be careful, Anna. It's really slippery.
Percy says we should go this way. There's a lot less ice.
I like the sound of that.
While we're walking, maybe you can tell me anything else you know about this General Hannibal.
Well, I remember learning that Hannibal spent his life battling Rome. As the story goes, Hannibal's father asked him to make an oath when he was just a kid.
What was the oath?
That for as long as he lived, Hannibal would never be a friend of Rome.
Why would his father ask him to make that promise?
His father was a famous general named Hamilcar Barca. And let's just say General Hamilcar and Rome did not get along. Hamilcar commanded Carthage's forces during the First Punic War with Rome. You see, at the time, Carthage and Rome dominated the Mediterranean Sea, and they fought each other to control the islands and waters of that sea. During the First Punic War, Hannibal's father battled against Rome with warships and armies of men. For 23 years, Carthage and Rome fought, and finally, in 241 BCE, Rome claimed victory. But then, Carthage was forced to surrender. It lost land, much of its navy, and had to pay Rome a huge amount of money.
So that's why Hamilcar Barca didn't like Rome? And I'm guessing there was another war after the First Punic War. In the museum, we read about the Second Punic War.
The Second Punic War happened about 20 years later, and at this time Hannibal was in charge of Carthage's forces.
So Hannibal became a general just like his father. What were they fighting about during the Second Punic War?
Like the First War, Carthage and Rome were fighting over territory. They both wanted more control over the Mediterranean Sea and the land nearby. And as we know, Carthage's leader, Hannibal, had his own reasons.
He had promised his father he would be Rome's enemy. But why was it so important to control the Mediterranean Sea?
This sea was a very important trade route. Ships could sail to Europe, Africa, and Asia on these waters. Controlling the sea brought a lot of wealth and power.
Leo, do you hear that? In the distance?
It sounds like people marching. Maybe it's an army.
That's what I was thinking. But I thought I heard something else too.
Like what?
I thought I heard... No, it couldn't have been. Never mind. Maybe it was just the wind.
Anna, tell me. What did you hear?
It's silly, but I thought I heard an elephant.
No, it's not silly, Anna. I think I hear it too. And look, I think I can see something in the distance.
Me too. It's getting closer. There are some men in armor and...
Whoa! And elephants!
So we're somewhere in the snowy mountains with elephants? The last time I checked, elephants don't like the cold.
What did Percy say?
He said they were war elephants. What are war elephants?
Wait, I remember reading about this. Oh, that's right! Carthage's army used elephants.
You mean they rode elephants into battle?
Yes, Carthage's army would capture wild elephants and train them for war.
Where did they find these elephants?
Many of Hannibal's war elephants came from the African forests.
African forest elephants? That type of elephant is much smaller than other kinds, but they're still very big. Did you know most forest elephants can be 10 feet tall and weigh 8,000 pounds? Today they're also endangered. I don't know if I like the idea of these elephants fighting in a battle.
Whoa, they're getting a lot closer.
Is it me, or are the elephants wearing armor?
You may be right. Sometimes elephants will wear a long cloak or bands of metal or leather on their legs, necks, or trunks to protect them. There are even records of a special elephant helmet. This helmet was a large metal plate that was worn on the front of their heads.
That sounds like it would have been very hard to move around in.
It could be, so sometimes the army decided it was even better for the elephants to go without armor. That way it was easier to move during battle.
Hey, look, the army is passing us. And that is a lot of elephants. How many do you think there are?
I was actually just counting them, and I think there are about 30 elephants.
Can you imagine facing that battle? What did the Romans do when they saw the elephants?
Oh, they were terrified. Just look at those elephant sharp tusks. There were also stories of elephants grabbing men with their trunks.
I can't say I blame the elephants. You don't want to make them angry.
No, and the elephants were dangerous to the Carthaginians too. If the animals go out of control, they could cause a lot of damage.
Don't worry, Percy. We'll stay far away from the elephants.
I wonder where they're going.
Me too. And we still have no idea where we are.
Hi friends, are you enjoying today's episode? I'd like to take a quick break from the story to tell you about another great place to learn about the past. Honest History creates magazines and books for kids that are filled with fun stories and activities that bring history to life. From pirates to spies to great inventions and so much more, you'll learn about interesting people, places, and events from around the world that made history. Created for kids ages 6 through 12, you can sign up and receive new adventures delivered straight to your doorstep every quarter. Just visit honesthistory.co. That's honesthistory.co to sign up today. Oh, and here's a special offer for our podcast listeners. Use code UNLOCKTHIS for 10% off. Again, that special code is UNLOCKTHIS. Okay, let's get back to the story.
Really? Percy says that Hannibal just passed us. Apparently he's right over there, riding on a horse.
So that means that this is one of Hannibal's armies.
Leo, do you remember any battles with Hannibal that happened in the mountains?
I don't know of any big battles in the mountains, but I do remember something else.
What?
In 218 BCE, Hannibal and his army crossed the Alps. How could I forget? It was one of the most famous events in military history.
So we must be in the Alps. Those are mountains in Europe, right?
Yes, this was Hannibal's riskiest plan yet. He wanted to sneak into Italy by crossing through the mountains. If he made it, he'd avoid all of Rome's warships and armies.
And he'd surprise attack Rome.
But it would be a very difficult journey through the mountains. Hannibal knew he had to time the attack perfectly. If he went too late, there would be too much snow and his army wouldn't be able to get through. If he waited until the snow melted, the Romans would have enough time to get their army ready. Hannibal had to move fast.
I'm looking around at these mountains and I'm wondering, how do we know which way to go?
The Alps have many different passages you could take to get through. Hannibal didn't know these passages very well, so he hired local people called the Gauls to help him find the right path. The Gauls actually warned Hannibal that it was too late to make the crossing. Winter was coming, and it was coming quickly.
What did Hannibal do?
He decided to risk it and began the long journey. For days, his huge army marched over the rough and dangerous peaks. Some paths were so narrow and uneven that even the smallest misstep would send them over the edge of the cliffs. But it wasn't just the mountains that made his plan so dangerous. There was also tribes of Gallic peoples who lived in the valley of the Alps. And many of these tribes were very friendly. One tribe attacked Hannibal's army by surprise, hoping to steal the army's weapons and supplies. Hannibal's army suffered many losses, but they were eventually able to drive the tribe away.
How was the army able to keep going?
Every day was hard. After weeks of marching through the snow and ice, Hannibal's men were exhausted. Hannibal knew he had to do something to stop them from giving up. He would tell his men that they were nearly at the top, even when they still had a long way to climb. But once his army got to the top, they had a terrifying journey back down. Men slipped and fell on the steep ice. Some of the soldiers and many animals didn't make it. Historians still aren't sure how long Hannibal and his men marched through the Alps. Some say it was a couple of weeks, while others estimate months.
I can't imagine spending days in these mountains. It's freezing up here. And some of the paths are so narrow. I can't even believe elephants were able to cross the Alps. You're right, Percy. I see it too. Leo, do you see the men in the distance? It looks like they're building something.
Oh, yes. I think that's Hannibal's army building a road that will help the elephants get across. The men could spend days moving rocks and rubble to make a path.
All of this talk about elephants has got me thinking. Leo, remember that coin in the vault? It had an elephant on the back and the picture of a man on the front. Do you think that man was Hannibal? And that was one of his war elephants on the back?
I think you're right, Anna. And I get the feeling we're about to travel home. Look, we're back in the vault.
Whoa, what an adventure! But it's good to be back. Those mountains were pretty slippery.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not the ones climbing them down.
Leo, did Hannibal and his army ever make it to Italy?
They did. Finally, after weeks of marching, the men reached the bottom of the mountains. Then, Hannibal launched his attack on the Romans. He would continue to fight them for another 17 years during the Second Punic War.
Did Hannibal win the war?
Hannibal won many battles, but in the end, Rome defeated Carthage.
Percy said Hannibal was defeated by the Roman general Scipio Africanus. Hey, wasn't that the statue we found in the museum? I remember the label said that he helped the Romans win the Second Punic War.
That's right. But even though Hannibal lost, he is still considered one of history's most famous generals. And his daring march through the Alps is one of the most unbelievable events in military history.
Leo, do you remember where I put that history magazine? After this adventure, I definitely want to learn more about ancient Rome.
Here it is.
Thanks. I should warn you, you may not get it back for a while.
Well, lucky for you, I already read it twice. Take all the time you need.
Welcome back. That sure was a great adventure. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna tell all my friends about this amazing story. That's all for now. But if you want to learn more, be sure to check out my favorite magazine for kids, Honest History. There's a ton of stuff to learn in each issue, and I love the fun activities and questions. Bye! This episode was narrated by Nikki and JoAnn Schinderle and written by Heidi Coburn. The production was read by Robot Pirate Media. To learn more about Honest History, visit us at honesthistory.co and follow for updates on social media.